How's everybody doing?
Good.
Awesome. Once we circle it up. Circle the wagons.
You learned how to maneuver quickly, huh?
I'm doing the tramadol shuffle today. That is a non-opioid painkiller. And I feel much better today than I've had in like 2 months. I'm excited because I can walk. And so I'm hoping that this gets me past the tail end of double knee surgery. They literally cut my legs off and sewed them back on. I know it's kind of brutal sounding, but it's truly what happened. So Ruby couldn't make it today. She had a doctor's appointment with her mom, and she's kind of the sole caregiver right now for her mom. So she asked me to take over book club today. And so that's why I'm doing it. But first, let's get into victories, gratitudes. What do we have?
I will share.
Perfect.
So I'm Amelia. I am from California. I'll be doing recruiting out there, and I've been spending the last 3 days with all of you. And I wanted to share this epiphany I had in October. I went to a summit. I'm a real estate agent, and I was like, okay, this is what I wrote in my journal, and I'll share it with all of you because I think it's so important. Where is it? It says, I finally found a company that I can call home, but it just so happens to be they sell homes.
Wow.
And I went back to my office, and I've been in many businesses, but I was in a fashion business, and I looked at the jacket that I had on, and I said, what am I gonna wear to Utah? Because I'm gonna quit my job and I'm gonna start working for this corporation. And I picked this jacket out, and I told my husband I'm gonna wear this jacket to Utah when I go. This is October. This morning I woke up, I put my jacket on, I went down the elevator, and it was exactly how I imagined it. So I brought that in for myself, and now I will take back a lot of the energy and the perseverance that all of you have, because in California we wake up at 8. We do not get to meetings at 8. And that's something that I'm going to try to install in every office that I'm in, that we are here early. Because since I've been here, and maybe I'm going long-winded,
You're good.
I've had very little to none coffee, and I am an avid coffee drinker. So your energy and enthusiasm is definitely rubbed off, and I hope to bring that back to California and bring some agents that are like-kind to the model that we have here.
Welcome. Thanks for being here with us, and thanks for sharing that. It's truly important to get a fresh look from a new face of the experience of the Everest experience. So it's really appreciated. Who else?
I think that's just funny. We used to meet at 7:30.
Right.
Yeah.
Always. And then a few people couldn't because of their kids' schedule, so we changed it to 8.
Yeah. And our role playing at 7 in the morning, I think it's fascinating that we're here and we do it. And it's getting better. And today was really fun for me. I don't know if it's because I'm doing the tramadol shuffle, but it's been good for me today. It's really, I mean, you had some great things to share. I hope you share. Would you please share with the group what you did with that listing?
Oh yeah.
Competed?
So, I get all my stuff through door knocking, and I met with some people, and they were interviewing 3 other agents. They had interviewed 3 other agents, and they were all at 5%, and they were saying their house was worth like $400,000. And I came in 7%. I said their house was worth $385,000, and they were like really having a hard time with it. And I was like, well, like honestly, it takes anywhere from like 10 to 12% to sell a house, regardless of the agent fees, like just kind of whatever. And they were like, well, we want to think about it. The next day they called me and they're like, hey, we're ready to sign the paperwork. You're the only one that was honest with us about like the prices and stuff. So got it, sold it in a month over asking price, and I took the 7%. So.
Is that amazing?
Wow.
I mean, serious. And man, it's what's so gratifying to me is I've known you from the beginning, and I see where you're at right now. I'm like giddish with excitement. Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And I love these kind of stories because this is the Everest story. It's what we do. It's what we emulate. Is this kind of success? So thank you for sharing. Who else? Any others? Yes, John.
Selling a flip today.
Oh, nice, dude.
One of yours.
Yes.
Yeah, one of mine.
Nice, John. It's been fun to watch you in that in that journey. So
Well, I need to do more.
yeah,
yeah.
no doubt. Don't we all though?
Oh, yeah.
Always looking for that next level. So thanks for sharing that. Any else? Any others? Okay, so announcements. Everest Cell System starts tomorrow. Elevate starts this next week, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Yeah, giant heads in the way. That's all right. We love Andy. So you guys, look, this is an opportunity to really get in and really see George and his approach in cells and shaping who you are in crammed into 2.5 days. I think it's going to be an extreme. Have your notebooks out and take notes, because the leadership that comes from this guy is unlike any out there in the real estate world. And I think, I've in 30 years of doing this, I can tell you, I'm here for that reason. I was with Coldwell Banker for 22 years. Why in the world would I come here? Because it is that good. And I've watched what Brenda Lee has done over the years. It's amazing. And the changes. She's from Coldwell. And I watch how people are working hard. And Tim this morning did an incredible job. And he gets in his head a little too much. But just some of the stuff we do here, George is going to put that in a 2.5 day thing. So attend. Dylan, where'd Dylan go? He escaped. Get with Dylan. You can put it on your ledger. But attend that. That'll really help you. I forgot who was doing base camp today.
Jeremy.
Is it Jeremy?
No, that was
No.
Monday.
Be at base camp. It's a surprise. So I forgot. So anyway, so the book. Who's reading the book? Okay, so we're doing we're supposed to do 4 through 7. I hadn't been reading the book, but I jumped into it. I honestly didn't get only through chapters 4 and 5. So much information that
Right.
let's see where we go. And if we don't get clear through 7, that's fine. Ruby can pick up from there. But let's talk about really what is chapter 4 really talking about. Please take your wallets. Take out your wallets. What is it that he's doing here? Those of you. She, thank you. What is she doing here? I love this exercise. And I wish we had more time to do it and actually get in, because it's really something we should be focusing our minds on here in real estate. So what are they doing with the wallet? What's the wallet exercise, Jonathan? Do you remember?
I just.
That's fine. Let's.
They dissect it. They take it apart.
There you go.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
They split up in groups of 2 and try to create the perfect wallet for the person they're going back and forth with. What's the intent behind that? That's what I want to get to. What is the intent to creating the wallet in this type of exercise? Do you remember?
Opportunity finding.
There you go.
Opportunity finding.
What are we in real estate doing to apply this technique? Now think about it. I can share one with me. So when I got into recruiting here, it was harder for me to recruit here than it's been anywhere in my career. Why is that? Because there were so many people going after the same fish in the pond. And I didn't want to step on those toes. I didn't want to compete against my teammate. I needed to try to understand how to elevate them to still do my job. So the wallet exercise was kind of what I had to do in respect to recruiting. So I'd do 50 to 60 recruits a year at Coldwell. How was I going to do it here when everybody was recruiting? I had such great competition here. It was like deafening into my head. I started putting people in school, put them under my name. And it took me probably a year to build up a bank of people that when they graduated, they come to me. Nobody else had the opportunity. But it took me sitting back and going, what can I do with what I have? So my question for you is, real estate. What are you doing that is different from the next person?
before Matt went into his office, different Matt, he's not here. Is it Matt?
Matt Clark.
Yeah, Clark, yeah. Before he went into his office, I listened to him prospect all the time. And the way he handled phone calls was quite a bit different. And I said, Matt, what's going on? And he's all, well, I chant to myself every morning before I hop on the phone, what can I do to help people out? And so, I mean, have you ever had someone say, well, I'm gonna rant, or, and they literally were? I mean, when I get that, I'm all, great, have fun with that. But here Matt is, how can I help people out? And so when he's on the phone, he was literally looking for that.
I like that.
And because of that, he was getting far more appointments doing that.
I agree. That is his power. That's how he focuses on it. Thanks for sharing that. You know, one of the things that was intriguing about this chapter, they talk about this individual who was going to write a book. Do some of you know where I'm going with it? I know that portion in the book. So this guy was going to write a book, and I think it was on chemistry of cooking. And, you know, people were saying, you can't do that.
Right.
How does that relate in real estate? We do it to ourselves. Well, I can't do that. You know, other people, you can't do that. It's the crab in the bucket, right?
I'm gonna sell 50 homes this year.
There you go.
You can't do that.
You can't do that, right? How do we go to that? I like to call it a weed within our thinking. I'm going to make $1 million. Bullshit. It's a weed that just popped up. How do we pluck that out, get rid of that, and train the subconscious into thinking differently? What are you doing in real estate? Because do you have limiting beliefs? We all do. Yeah.
I was reading in Think and Grow Rich yesterday, and he was talking about anything in our subconscious mind is something that we allowed in our conscious mind. So, you know, if you allow yourself to say consciously that somebody can't, I mean, just to give you the example of 50 transactions, for example, like you tell yourself it's not possible to get 50 transactions consciously, then subconsciously, when somebody says something like that, you will not believe it.
Absolutely. So our mind is based on this I like to look at it as a digestive system. The digestive system, the stuff up here that just is. It's the information that's coming into us. It's just what it is. It's nothing special. It's just information. And it funnels into that first corridor of our mind. Russ kind of taught on it the other day when he presented to us. And our first corridor in that conscious is the 10% is the conscious. Subconscious is 90% of who we are. As this information comes into that first corridor, we have to assign it a positive or a negative. Most of us will allow naturally to assign to a negative. We have to consciously take that information, assign it a positive, to digest it into the subconscious to create pictures. Those pictures help us to become something more positive. So it's right on, because our subconscious is really what causes us to walk through our day. It's the autopilot. So by taking that understanding and making it happen, you can create your world. So I would start focusing on how that process, because it's a real scientific thing as far as the digestive system of your mind.
You know, I think just a few examples of like things that are maybe outside your control on how you digest those things. You know, maybe not necessarily your own abilities, but I mean, right now we have a really low inventory, not just in Utah, but just like in the whole country, right? Like very, very low inventory. And that could be you could look at that as a negative thing. You're like, oh, I don't have any property for my buyers. And you can digest that as a negative thing. Or somebody could look at the exact same scenario and think, oh my gosh, this is a heyday.
Yes.
There's just like, there's no inventory. Everybody should be listing. I'm gonna go after your listings.
Thank
and
you.
Be so positive about it.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. And think about the opportunity of going into the MLS and looking at properties that haven't sold. Go knock those doors. Giving people the ability to look, $44,000 right now in buying power because we're at 3.375. More buyers can afford their home right now. Wouldn't it make sense to put it on? Casting that vision, right? Goes into the subconscious, creating pictures.
So she talks about the whole reason why she did the wall, and what the wall exercise was you and a buddy would pull your wallet out. You would tell the other person what you didn't like about
That's
your
it.
wallet. That other person then knew how to design the perfect wallet for you. So with paper and
Tape, wasn't it?
And tape and just rudimentary materials, they would design your perfect wallet. And so what she's teaching is the opportunity, if we find people's problems, what we've really found is an opportunity. And the chapter 5 is amazing because in there, she said another exercise or assignment she'd give her students is to write a failure resume.
Before we get into that, let's finish 4 because I want to jump into that because I think that chapter is brilliant. I want to spend a little bit of time as we transition from 4 to 5 on that. So hold that thought for just a minute because what the Goldberg story in chapter 4, what is it? Those of you who read it. What did Goldberg want to be? A millionaire.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He wanted $1 million. He wanted to be a millionaire. And he kept going and he kept wishing and he kept praying and he kept asking God, get me to make me a millionaire, make me a millionaire, make me a millionaire. And it never happened. The success never came through. He couldn't imagine why. Years went on. He still finally asked God. What did he ask God?
So no, he was a government job.
Sure.
And it wasn't happening, so he went into his boss says, I'm quitting.
Yeah, that's true.
And his boss said, okay, let's go for a walk. And while they're walking, he said, let me tell you about this guy that wanted to be a millionaire.
That's correct.
And he kept praying and saying, hey, let me win the lottery. And he'd say the prayer night after night after night after night. And finally, one night, God speaks back to him. When are you going to buy a lottery ticket?
Boom! Why is it that we... Hopium is not a strategy. Kind of sounds like a drug, hopium. You can get addicted to it. You can die from it. Because we hope too much that it's going to happen. We never take action. We have to do something to put things into motion. It's interesting to me that I watch people come through these doors every single day. They walk around, they do things in avoidance behavior, living on hopium, hoping that success is going to walk through the door. When are you going to pick up the phone? But they sit there, phone's going to ring any minute. My buyer's going to be there. It's going to ring any minute. And I know it's going to ring. I hope it's going to ring. Maybe somebody's going to call me. We have to engage in this business. Run towards the success. Hope you fail time and time again. Because that failure means you're working hard enough to fail to find the glory on the other side. Jonathan.
The phone's dead. I better hop on Facebook.
Yeah, exactly. But we got to engage in our business. And we have to do it with intent and purpose and excitement. When we do that, this is a fascinating, fun job to have. They go into an inventory and want you to take inventory in chapter 4. That chapter 4 inventory is this. Let me read it through to you. What are your core values? What are your priorities? What are your strongest skills? What inspires and motivates you? This is an important one. What inspires and motivates you? For those who want, this is on page 65. The next is, what are your short-term goals? Very important. Maybe the next minute, maybe the next hour. For me, it's been the next step because of what I've been dealing with. So, what are your short-term goals? What are your long-term objectives? What do you want? What do you want to create in your world, in your life? Define that. What are your wildest dreams? I love this one. Fantasize what do you want to do and have, run through a jungle? What is it? Climb Mount Everest? I'd be curious to know. Who will be on your personal advisory board? I like this one. Who are you listening to? Who's guiding you? Take inventory on that, because those are great influencers to the subconscious. Make no mistake on that. Who are your role models? What knowledge do you need to build? What skills do you need to learn? Huge. Don't think you have it all figured out. Be seeking for the next way of doing it. As a mixed martial artist, the reason you become so good, you step into another master's dojo to learn how they do what they do. Doesn't mean you give up on what you know. It just means you enhance who you are and what you do. And you collectively gain these skills. That's what we do here. We're in pursuit of truth. Yes.
You're saying that don't act like you know everything. I think that's interesting when you see so many people that are just literally just seeking after everybody else's approval, or they want everybody else to think that they're so great. And I've actually been fascinated by this the last couple months, just like seeing people, like walking around judging people. I just noticed some people are so important to them, what other people are thinking about them over everything else, over their own success. And I think your goal has to be what your objective is. Like you said, your long-term objective has to be so strong, or your passion for that has to be so strong that you're willing to overcome that desire for approval. Because the desire for approval won't go away. You
Correct.
just need to have something that's stronger than that approval.
No question. And the number one human need is acceptance and approval by others. Don't care if you don't believe that or not. It is true. We seek approval of others. That's why that's so strong. But we have to be searching and seeking out truth and the way of doing it better. Not forgetting what you've learned, but adding to what you are and what you're doing. Thanks for sharing that. What knowledge do you need to build on? What skills do you need to learn? What qualities would you like to develop? Man, that's a powerful one for me. What qualities do you want to develop?
It's funny because I'm old, now, and I was thinking the other day, I'm really trying to think about that question and like, what are some things that I really need to work on that maybe they've been patterns my whole life, right?
Ooh,
a lot
good
of
one.
decades. And one of them was that I realized, like, I genuinely think of myself as a pretty nice person, but I really have this need to like be right.
Oh, don't we all though to a little bit?
And like the other day, I was talking to somebody, and they were talking to me about Kobe Bryant, and we were talking about his family, and they said to me, yeah, it was his oldest daughter who died. I said, no, it was his 13-year-old daughter. He has an older daughter. They're like, no. So they were really, so I thought, I just backed off, and I'm like, who cares, right?
Right.
But then I went home and I Googled it, and I found out that I was right.
Of course.
And I wanted to text this person, and I'm like, that is so ridiculous. You are not going to text this person and tell them, hey, guess what, I was right. It doesn't matter. So ever since I let that go,
Love that.
even just this week, it kind of heightened my thing to like, how often does that happen to me? And I'm just going to let it go.
Thank you.
I'm not going to have to be
Wow.
right.
But the biggest point is that she recognized it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you have to recognize and be open to improving yourself.
You'll hear me say, just because you're right doesn't make you right. And it's right into alignment of
It
that.
doesn't matter who
It doesn't
cares?
matter.
Like, it doesn't change
It's a daughter,
the
she
fact.
died.
Right.
Doesn't matter
It
who's,
doesn't, and it doesn't change the fact.
doesn't change it.
And, you know,
She
the
ended
truth
up doing
is,
the same thing. She went home and checked it out and says,
I was wrong.
And she should reach out to you.
I do that.
you guys are funny because
And
you're
that's-
saying she, and guess what? It wasn't
It's a he.
she, but
He,
that's
she.
okay.
Oh, I thought you said
I thought she said she
she. I
too,
thought
but
you said she.
is the mind
Oh, she
creates the narrative we think we're hearing.
No, but
I
anyway.
just assumed it would be a girl because it was wrong.
Ouch!
Which might be another
That's it.
reason.
No,
Which
you're
might,
You're
I'm
out.
just totally joking. No, but as an analytical, like I suffer from the exact same problem. And one thing that I heard somebody say once was, it doesn't matter who's right; it just matters what's right. And that's kind of something
I like
I
that
say
one
to
too.
myself. So I'm not like always trying to make myself correct, even though I know I'm wrong.
I know I'm the right monster. I have to be right, and I had to change that about myself. Because my brothers and I will practically kill each other to be right. And it doesn't matter. If it's not changing the world or affecting my life, I let them be right. Because just because I'm right doesn't make me right.
right.
Correct.
Right.
So, growing up, my identity has been wrapped around being someone that's very intelligent, and so I like to prove that at times, just to reinforce my identity.
That's good.
And I've been at a seminar and I've heard it. I don't know how many times I've heard it, but my mind finally wrapped around it. Do you want to be right or do you want to be rich?
Love that.
And yeah, some people don't like money, but if you want to be rich in relationships, can you be right and be rich? No.
Right. Thanks for sharing. I want to jump into chapter 5 now because it's so important and we're almost out of time. Because I thought this exercise that you wanted to talk about, and I want you to lead that conversation of why that conversation or what she did was so important. It changed the way I see things. And man, here's a person who thinks he's got things figured out. This jumped out into my face and said, holy criminy. This is incredible the way I can see this now and how it's changed it up. And that's on page, what?
So,
70?
her assignment was to her whole class. They were to write a resume about all their failures. And I saw some of your old faces when I said that. I had the same reaction
I did too.
when I read it. I'm all, what the heck, you crazy. And she's all, they were to list the failure, what caused it, and what they learned from it. I'm all, wow, now that's different.
It's exciting.
And she said that after giving that assignment, she's had students come back 10, 20 years later, said, not only have I kept up my resume, I've kept up my failure resume. And because you write down what you learn, they've said that their failure resume has been far more valuable than their other resume.
That's what I took out of this chapter, and listen to some of the things that they have listed. Yes, Evan?
when I was a football coach, whenever we lost a game, I would stay up all night trying to figure out what happened, where did we go wrong. But when we won a game, I went right to sleep.
Relaxed. Yeah. Isn't that interesting? It's how we relate to our failures and our wins. But here's what I know. This exercise, seriously, is brilliant. It's the secret of Silicon Valley. Matter of fact, it's how we went to the moon. Do you realize that they had a room that said, this is where we take things that can't be done? They took it to that room and they had think tanks that thought, how do we do it? So listen to some of these things. Not paying attention was one of the on the resumes. Quitting too early. Not doing my best. Mismanaging relationships. How often do we do that because we want to be right? Right? Avoiding conflict. There's a big one for some of you amiables. And for us driver expressives, we're like right in your face with it. Mismanaging a relationship. Not listening to my gut. Let's talk a little bit about that. What does that mean to you? How do you relate to that? Give me some examples.
So George always talks about the answers within. So a lot of, in this business, your head's just kind of all over the place sometimes. And sometimes if you just sit in a quiet place for a period of time, you can kind of sort it out yourself.
Absolutely. I appreciate you sharing that because it's interesting to me being in management. And I typically will pick up the phone, handle your objections, help you with your conflicts and do things. But what I discovered over the years of doing this, if I can't get to you in time, you typically figure it out. But you're freaking out, which is not allowing you to figure it out. Jason helped me with this one time because I was freaking out along with the agent. And he says, their emergency is not my emergency. And I thought it was a brilliant statement in the fact that, well, they'll figure it out. The answer is within you. But we're there to make it quicker and easier for you, but you have it within you. This resume, I would challenge you guys to actually take this task on of writing out your failure resume. What did you learn? Evaluate who you are, how you exist within your space. Analyze it. Ask, what can I do better? I love what you shared.
Well, it's interesting too, because once I kind of resisted doing that, then I became much more aware of other times when I,
Yes.
it just raises your awareness, and it's like, that's really interesting. Now it's just kind of like liberate. I mean, it's only been this week, obviously, but it's a new awareness that's really great.
We're still learning, right?
The real test will be when you see him again.
Correct.
Oh,
That is.
That will be the real test.
No, I've seen him.
It's
And
her
you haven't
husband.
been.
Oh, I'm just kidding.
Must have been George.
No.
Just kidding.
No, but it doesn't matter. But my point is just
I
kind
love
of
it.
cool. Like once you do seek to be aware, and then you take a step towards that awareness, then it opens up more and more for you.
You hear me say this all the time. Ask yourself how you're showing up in somebody's life to make them respond the way they're responding. You have a responsibility to your environment and your world, how you're showing up. Watch their body language. Watch how they respond to you. In the morning, it's fascinating to me. We talked a little bit. I scared the crap out of you in the beginning. And what'd you say?
He's just a giant teddy bear. He's like, the reason he like beats the hell out of us in role plays and stuff is just because he loves us and wants us to
That's
succeed.
it. So how we show up, but see, for me, I didn't really understand or realize I'm this big scary guy coming at you. Because my passion and intensity is so pointed in helping you become better, I'm at it. And I just want to grab a hold of you and not beat it into you, but sometimes it feels like it's what I want to do, just to help you become better. But I'm not. It's with love and an appreciation with the fact that I will make you better if you'll follow me. I had to do it with the journey of hard knocks. Listen to what we have to offer, because it's by trial and error that we've discovered these golden nuggets along the way. I am not a scary guy, I don't think. But I don't see myself like you see me. But let's just together take the journey. Let's do the failure resume, start sharing it with each other, and find the golden nuggets along the way. Any closing comments from anybody?
I have one.
Okay.
I just love coming here in the morning. I just love getting my butt kicked every morning. I probably get more than most. Anyway, I think that as you get your butt kicked around, you start growing from it. And if you don't, you're not.
Absolutely, and I share that with everybody. Evan takes more crap from me than anybody. He does. But, and I love him for that.
He sells more homes.
Just thank you, right? So,
I don't know, I'm gonna say this and I felt like I should. I had a mentor many, many years ago who used to tell me, Amelia, you will pay for your education whether you want to or not.
I love that.
And I used to think, well, then I have a multi-million-dollar education.
Yeah.
And I have a PhD in failure. And I used to think
That's
failure,
brilliant.
failure. My biggest failure was a company I started and I let someone in that I shouldn't have. That was the turning point in my entire career to build myself strong enough to take the advice of others and to let people in so I wouldn't have to take another PhD in that. But you pay for your education whether you want to or not.
Absolutely. I thank you for sharing that. That is so brilliant because we will learn from our mistakes. We have to. So we're out of time. We could finish the rest of the day having these great conversations. Ruby will continue from, we only got to chapter 5. I would suggest that we go from 6 to what? What do you guys suggest?
8, 10.
10? 10?
How many chapters are
I don't know. Let's go to
Well,
chapter.
We won't have it next week, and we won't have it the following week, so it's in 2 weeks, so we might as well go to 10.
Let's go to 10.
That's what I'm saying.
So let's go to 10, and I think she'll probably wrap it up. Fair enough? Okay, let's do some closing affirmations. Matt, if you don't mind running for me, my voice is like going away. Thanks for being here, everybody. It's awesome.
I got you. About what? NLP, baby. You know what's awesome, Rick? NLP. You are.
Thanks, man.
You're on.
Look,
All right, let's go. Closing affirmations. I succeed because I have my goals. I am optimist. I like talking to people. I know what's important to me. I remember people's names. I